All right, so to start episode 21 of Boxing Manager post recap episode, we are taking everything dead serious now. We are dedicating ourselves fully to winning a championship as soon as possible and winning as many championships. I have completely cut the nonsense. I've just started relentlessly signing fighters out of the rankings. I no longer really care about limiting myself just to amateurs and the scouting screen in the gym. We're just going to go into the rankings and sign the guys that want to fight for us. On that note, we have signed a few guys of that very description. First off, Vaishon Barrett, who comes in with 29,000 fans, 100,000 in career earnings. A boxer puncher from Maudlin, South Carolina. 6'1" light heavyweight. 17 aggression, big punching accuracy, which is why I signed him. He's really only held back by his low intelligence and his low takes punishment. Everything else is pretty fantastic. I'm loving the 20 stamina, the 20 shin, the 19 punch accuracy. This guy is going to be one entertainer here in the light heavyweight division. He already has been very quickly accumulating an 8-0 record in his early professional career. So welcome on board, Vaishon Barrett. Next up, it's Carlos the Casper Ghost Patterson from Casper, Wyoming. 22-year-old cruiserweight. He is going to fill, hopefully, the Anthony Rio-sized hole in my heart. Bringing 25,000 fans with him, a 22-7 amateur record. I love the 6 aggression to go with 20 punch accuracy and 20 defense. I think this guy has a really fun skill set that's going to win him a lot of fights, and he's already won a lot of fights. He's 7-0 with 7 knockouts in the always dangerous and adventurous cruiserweight division. And I guess this is time to, address the elephant in the room. We have opened the Puerto Rican Punch Palace in San Juan, Puerto Rico. No offense to Puerto Rico, I originally wanted to make a gym in the Bahamas, but I ran into a strange problem. Well, I'll show you. I put in country, Bahamas, and then I clicked in Nassau, and it says no city with that name in that country. And trust me, Nassau is the biggest city in the Bahamas, and I did not spell it wrong. I went through a list of cities in the Bahamas and just continued to enter city after city after city in the Bahamas, and it wouldn't take any of them. So I couldn't open a gym in the Bahamas. That appears to be some kind of a glitch in the game. So I opened one in Puerto Rico because it's also North America. And it is going to have a little more boxing talent. I thought the Bahamas would be cool because it's a country where it's going to be a little harder to find good fighters. Puerto Rico, it's a little easier. So I did myself a bit of a favor there because, I mean, look at Alberto Ortiz Adorno. This guy is a world-class bantamweight. It's just the low stamina holding him back. Well, but before that stamina's gone, he's gonna give you a good fight. 13-0 with 1 draw. Skillful, big puncher. Already taken on a lot of really good fighters in the bantamweight division, and we've got a couple fun bantamweights now after being pretty barren at that weight class for most of the saves so far. Todd Lopez as well, so we could be dealing with a couple bantamweight contenders in the near future here at the promotion. Not sure if Michael Brandino is new, but we brought him in to the Canadian gym that we opened. Richard Palmares, another Puerto Rican fighter we brought in. Only a 1-5 amateur record, low ring IQ, low takes punishment. He might not be that good, but we'll give him a shot. We'll see. He's a southpaw. He's young. Young. He's old. He's kind of an old starter at 28. So let's see what he can do. He might end up being a fun journeyman type fighter. Raul Williams, decent young cruiserweight we signed. I like the aggression. I like the defense. The ring IQ is a drawback, but he's another fun cruiserweight. We'll see what he has to offer. Kid Rosario, just another Puerto Rican fighter I brought in. Now, I know a lot of these fighters aren't championship level, and the reason why I'm bringing in fighters like this is because I want to get influence points. Influence points are very important when it comes to both upgrading fighters and signing new amateurs, especially with signing new amateurs. It helps me sign more of the top amateurs. So I'm essentially signing bad fighters to feed my eventual ability to sign good young fighters, if that makes any sense. These influence points that I get from these guys racking up wins in the professional ranks will help me sign good amateur fighters. So it's worth it to me, even if a lot of these fighters don't pan out. I think a lot of these fighters are fun, good fighters. Mark Martinez, I think we've talked about him before. Corey Barboza, I believe, is new. Good right column. Really good punch power guy. Yeah, I've kind of wanted a fighter like this for a while. He's a very small super welterweight. He's tiny for the weight, by the way, with a massive punching power. So a very fun fighter here. 5'3" at super welterweight. Trust me, that's minuscule. He's going to be a massive reach disadvantage in a lot of his fights. This is going to be fun with Corey Barboza for sure. All right, time for McCreary versus Carl. Don't know if I previewed this event in the previous episode. I don't think I did, but we'll do it now. Norm Zusi is going to get a pretty easy setup fight. Trent Flint, same deal for the two young Canadians. Robert Philippone with a setup fight here. Maybe a little hard against Christian Keys, big fighter. Carter versus Mboyane. That should be a pretty good challenge for Carter. Two undefeated heavyweights, both with 4 knockouts. Mboyane a little bit less skilled than Carl, but much bigger. Brian Mitchell looking to continue the perfect start to his career against the powerful Louis Salmon. Mont Williams, a challenging fight against the undefeated Mike Altamirano. He might lose this one, so keep an eye out on that one. Mont Williams would be a very impressive win for him if he were to get it, however. Eben Rodriguez versus Macboot Whipboy. That's going to be a banger. And then, of course, Gabriel McCreary against the mighty Michael Carl. This is actually a rematch of a title fight, of McCreary's only career title fight, which he lost. And it would be sweet, sweet revenge and sweet, sweet victory here for Michael Carl, and what I'm sure will feel a lot like a title win for the American. Would still love to see Mr. McCreary get a title win one day, of course. And it's Norm Zuski, I believe, in his debut for the promotion. Let's see how the young Canadian does. And 1 minute and 7 seconds into our Canadian career, our first Canadian fighter in Norm Zuski has been knocked out. 17 punch power versus 7 defense is all I have to say. Inauspicious, to say the least. Canada, what do you have for me? Trent Flint, can you do your country proud? I will shut the Canadian gym down if you get knocked out as well. I mean, if he got KO1'd, I actually would have shut the gym down. Fortunately, Trent Flint does away with 7-16-1 Alejandro Perez. Hopefully we have brighter Canadian moments in the future of this company. I am planning on opening a Mexican gym as well. Maybe a small one similar to the Puerto Rican gym. I do want to open a third American gym as well, of course, just once we have more American fighters. I will just go crazy with signing fighters. We need influence points. We need to be able to sign the best amateurs. So I absolutely reserve my right to go nuts with signing fighters at any given point. At the current moment, we only have 40 fighters. I would definitely like to keep it beneath 45, even beneath 50. And I'm definitely going to be very liberal with cuts in the future. I do not like fighters losing very much if we don't have to put up with fighters that lose. I know that sounds mean, but we don't have to put up with fighters that lose. If a fighter loses too much, we can reserve our right to just cut that guy, go into the rankings in that same fighter's division, and just pick the best contender that isn't signed to anybody. That's just us doing our job as a boxing manager, unfortunately, in this here cruel game. In this cruel game of pugilism. This cruel game of prize fighting. And Jesus Cardo improves his record to 10-0 with a dominant 9th round and an overall dominant performance over the undefeated Victor Mboyane, who is no longer undefeated. Brian Mitchell looking to continue his undefeated campaign. Bad first round. Decent second round. Bit of a tilt here at welterweight. And wow, Salmon with 17 career knockouts piling the damage on the undefeated Mitchell. We've got him tired, but he's almost got us out of there. We're going to go on fast. We've almost got him on empty. We're damaged, though. He's still landing big shots. We land shots back. It's just such an action-packed fight. He's got us so close to being out of there, but now we're both at 85. We continue to land. Can we chase the finish in this round? He delivers 2 big shots that get us up into the red. We've almost got him finished, but we don't get the finish. We've got him on empty energy, and we would be foolish to not pile on pressure here to not try to chase a finish. while he's at 0% energy and damaged. And here comes Mitchell, piling on the pressure, chasing that 15th knockout. And it's an onslaught from Salman right at the end, but no. It was just with the last bit of his breath, with his last dying breath, Louis Salman marched forward and started throwing some combinations, managed to land 9 scoring punches and 1 power punch in there at 98% with 0% energy. And then finally, Brian Mitchell finishes him off for his 15th consecutive win to start their career. The East Bethel Bomber, Brian Mitchell, doing it again. And it's time for Lamont Williams to throw an upset here at the undefeated Mike Altamirano. This is one of the more solid times we've ever been an underdog in a fight. I don't know if we've ever been this much of an underdog in a non-title fight. Lamont Williams does have him on punch power. I think I want to look for KO in round 1 here just to see if I can make it happen. We win the round and we do a lot of damage. That might have actually been the right decision. And it's a good round 2. Let's go to the body. We're doing a lot of damage here to Altamirano. We're ahead in terms of... We're just ahead. What a fight so far from Williams. And there's a huge round from Altamirano. Whoa. I know we can't really outbox him. He just did a ton of damage there. We've got him down on energy. I kind of like jab and move. Preserve ourselves, make him chase us. We land a power punch. The first minute of jabbing and moving has worked here. We've got Altamirano damaged. Altamirano now working back. A couple big power punches. Damage Williams. Williams still ahead in the round. Maybe not for long, as Altamirano piles it on to end the round. And I think he actually did end up winning that round. We've got him more tired, but he's definitely got the momentum on his side. He's won the last 2 rounds. It's going to be a matter of us managing to get rid of that rest of that energy and then hopefully pile on without getting stopped first. But he's chasing a finish here, Altamirano, with us on 84%. He's a knockout artist and he's showing it off, and he's going to get the finish here as he piles on Lamont Williams. And it was a valiant effort from Lamont Williams, who did some good damage early in the fight in the first 3 rounds, but Altamirano found his range, found his pace, and used that last 40 to 17% energy to finish the fight. We never did manage to get all of his energy down. And Eben Rodriguez versus Macboot Whitboy could very easily turn into a very good fight. Eben Rodriguez needs to provide volume here in order to win. It's pretty simple. If he lets his hands go, he's going to win the fight. He's a better puncher than Whitboy. Whitboy's got that ring IQ. He's showing it off right now, trying to steal this round. Can he? Rodriguez comes back, and it's a very close first round. We'll watch round 2 on fastest. Perhaps against my better judgment, it is a heavyweight tilt. Kind of a slow second round. I was kind of right. It's a slow round 3. This has been a bit of a slow fight. Whitboy is sort of dragging Rodriguez into a fight at his pace. And there goes the big damage. We're going to cover up and see if we can land some big counter shots, and we do. It's a really big round 6 there from Eben Rodriguez, and we're going to pile on pressure here as we have the energy advantage. And it goes all wrong. Uh-oh. We started to pile on pressure, and Whitboy got real pissed off and just started hammering us. 24 punches to 9. And I swear it started pretty good. We were up like 6-0, and then he just completely drained his energy, beating the crap out of us, and drained our energy as well. And now we're both running on empty here at the end of this heavyweight exchange. And it's just going to come down to luck. It's a nice round win for Eben Rodriguez. You got to think Eben Rodriguez is ahead in this fight. It's so close. It says he's won 4 rounds pretty definitively. Piling on pressure does seem a little stupid. We're just going to stay natural style. And who knows? It's a tough fight to score. Judge 1 gives it to us. Judge 2 gives it to us as well. And all 3 judges score the fight 96-93 for Eben Rodriguez. I don't hate the performance Eben put on there. Whitboy gave us a very good fight. You could definitely argue that Whitboy won that fight. Again, it's just a really tough fight to score. I liked a lot of the work that Eben Rodriguez did there. It's his first win in his career that was not a finish, and Macboot Whitboy gave a good account of himself. And now it's the main event of the evening, and we're going to watch this one on a slower speed because I am very invested in this. It's Gabriel McCreary versus Michael Carl, too. Earlier, I basically said that Gabriel McCreary, his first fight against Michael Carl, is the single best effort that any of our fighters has ever put out in a title fight. We've had 5 title fights so far in the save, and we've lost all 5 of them. McCreary's first effort against Michael Carl was by far the best of all of those attempts that we have had thus far to win a championship. And this is an older, more damaged Michael Carl who doesn't take punishment as well, who doesn't have as much stamina. And it's basically atrophied a skill set that previously proved too much for Gabriel McCreary. He still has that ring IQ advantage, but it's slighter than it was before. We've done the work to level up McCreary's ring IQ since then. So this should be a very, very fun fight, just about as good as it gets in the welterweight division outside of title level. Ding, ding, ding. McCreary versus Carl, too. And the first power punches come from Michael Carl, stepping out to the middle of the ring and imposing himself here in round 1. It's an impressive start as McCreary begins to jab. Delivers a 1-2. It's a heavy shot back from Carl. Carl finds himself up against the ropes with McCreary landing. McCreary back to center ring. Lands a quick shot and a quick combination. Carl probably won that round on the power punches, but McCreary showing his ring control. McCreary with a power shot to end the round. It's been an action-packed round so far. They're going back and forth. Back to center ring. McCreary with a big shot. Carl exchanges. Carl seems to have every answer from McCreary so far, but McCreary with more energy. And here comes power shots from McCreary. He pours it on there. And Michael Carl is a very, very tired fighter right now. Already. He is really, on only 28 landed punches, he's at 58% of his TKO and 54% of his energy. And I'm just going to keep it on natural style, because unless Michael Carl begins to try to chase a finish here, and McCreary's already low takes punishment really betrays him, we're going to be able to get rid of Michael Carl's energy pretty easily here. And McCreary pouring on some offense here in round 3, and Carl is almost stopped, and he's only at 76%. I'm just going to stay on natural style. If he KOs us on natural style, knock on wood, then, props. He's landing power shots, McCreary with blood coming from his nose. It's a lot of damage coming from Carl, but whenever we throw anything back, it does so much damage to him. 81%. You're really seeing an old Michael Carl here. Those 10 losses must have come from somewhere. And he's down to 6%. And I'll tell you what, we're just going to cover up in this round and try not to lose. If he wants to pour it on with the last 6% of his energy, we're just going to let him, because we're at 65%. And he gets a knockdown. Michael Carl. Oh, McCreary. He gets up at the count of 6. Okay, we're not out of this yet. Michael Carl gets a big knockdown with the last of his energy that may have swung the fight. I was so worried McCreary was going to lose there. And now we're going to be able to pile on pressure here for the rest of this fight, which is what I really wanted to be doing. Chasing a finish here against an exhausted Michael Carl. And we're going to have to now that we've been knocked down. But it's more good work from Carl, and he's done so much damage to us in this fight. You could argue that on the merit of the actual fisticuffs here, the actual pugilism, Carl is winning the fight at this point. We do some good work to steal that round, but I almost feel like I'm fleeing back to natural style here, and we're immediately put back into the yellow. Despite being the more energetic fighter, McCreary has not managed to put together any significantly damaging work really on Carl. He hasn't had Carl really close to being stopped yet here in round 7, although he may be stealing these rounds. We are a damaged fighter. Michael Carl still showing every bit of the ability that made him a former world champion. And McCreary still probably to a lot of people needing to prove that he can really cut the mustard here at this very top level. McCreary continuing to pour on, but he hasn't gotten him up into those red numbers yet. Now that may be the case. 82%, and we're going to get back to a pile on pressure here. And there's a knockdown from McCreary. We're now even knockdowns. Can Carl get up? He gets up at the count of 5, but he's very damaged, and McCreary's got a lot of time to work and chase this finish. And Gabriel McCreary is going to avenge his title loss to Michael Carl. And we continue to rack up non-title accolades in addition to beating multiple former world champions with Tony the Real Deal Seals. We have now avenged our closest ever title loss to Michael Carl. albeit it was an older Michael Carl, but McCreary with a very valiant effort. And that was a very, very fun, entertaining fight, especially with that knockdown. Really something for everybody, something for both sets of supporters. That was a great fight. I think we need a third. I think McCreary would very clearly win a third against what's now going to be an even more damaged Michael Carl, but just for the sake of it, if Carl doesn't retire, I have no problem running this back for a third one in the future. That was a tremendous fight, and if that's the end of it, man, what a rivalry. Those two gave it all they had. Congrats to Gabriel McCreary and Michael Carl on a couple great fights. And let's do a quick run through of all the shows that we booked. First off, Fred Morales versus Yosh. And let's do a run through of all the shows that we book. First, from the Amway Center in Orlando, Florida, Florida man Fred Morales takes on Yoshiki Sameshima, 12-2 fighter, pretty high ranked. Pretty much just a guy we're trying to knock off while we wait for a title shot. The easiest fight that there was. This is another one that I think was an easy ranked opponent for Jose Edwards. Vashon Barrett making his debut with the company. Max Rice, a fight against a good defensive scrapper in Ryan Tetley. Carlos Patterson against Shakur Chapman. And here's the rest of the card with some basic setup fights for our young guys. Randy Dale versus Joe Sharp. This is going to be a really fun, entertaining main event. Randy Dale soaring higher than we ever really thought that he would here against a former title challenger in Joe Sharp. It was never a guarantee that we would see days like this for that we would see. It was never guaranteed that we would see days like this for Randy Dale, but here we are. A big fight here against the title challenger and a real, genuine top contender here in the middleweight division. A victory here could really signal that Randy Dale has arrived after a really, really long struggle to reach the top here at the middleweight division. And he's been a middleweight the whole time. We've had guys move from that weight. Nah, Randy Dale has stayed there, tried and true, and he deserves to be a contender and a championship level fighter in this division in every single way. Look at that skill set, man. What a special fighter Randy Dale is, and we're going to be rooting for him hard here against the former title challenger and Joe Sharp. And Ricardo Cottrell with a really big heavyweight fight here against Antonio Santa Samatala. A really gifted fighter, a very aggressive fighter. Doesn't take punishment great, which is good at heavyweight, but he can knock you out with one punch just like a lot of heavyweights can. And a 17-3 record in this division is absolutely nothing to be scoffed at. And a recent loss to Jay Dulim is really his only recent loss to an undefeated fighter. So, yeah, this is a very, very gifted pugilist here, and we'll be lucky to beat him with Ricardo Cottrell. And then the rest of this card is pretty much just straight filler, unfortunately. Hopefully we sell it out. Hopefully enough people want to see Randy Dale versus Joe Sharp. I hope Randy Dale can sell out a 19,000 seat venue. That would be very, very encouraging. And then, yep, your eyes do not deceive you. Frankie the Psycho Edwards against former title challenger Joseph Antoine Champion. Joseph Antoine Champion may even have been a champion. He was a former IBF champion. He took that belt right off Raskar Wid. So we've got a little revenge here. The man who unseated Wid. We're gonna have to avenge a guy who did us pretty dirty in the past than Raskar Wid. I don't want to avenge Raskar Wid, but that appears to be what we're doing here in attempting to beat Joseph Antoine Champion, who, by the way, is now up in his third weight class. This is Joseph Antoine Champion's debut here in his third weight class. I was about to think there might have been 4 when I go further down, but he started at super welter, had a long career there, then moved to middleweight, beat Raskar Wid, lost the belt to Andrew Smith, lost the rematch, fought the trilogy against Wid, man gave Wid a third shot and beat him a third time. This man is Raskar Wid's worst nightmare. The bane of Raskar Wid's existence. Joseph Antoine Champion, Sweden versus France, huh? And now he's up here at super middleweight in his third division. He's not small for the size, but it's really hurt his stamina and really hurt his conditioning moving up this much, it appears. So are we going to be able to hand a defeat to an essentially nerfed, weighted up, fat version of Joseph Antoine Champion against Frankie the Psycho Edwards? Man, this is a banger of a fight, both with 20 career wins. Both fighters pretty much having fought their entire career in the sim. Joseph Antoine Champion in 3 different divisions, and Frankie Edwards, a stalwart in middleweight. This is going to be a blast. Raymond Pena versus Jose Garibaldi. This thing should be a main event. Garibaldi, an absolute demon that takes punishment and stamina lower, probably only because he has so many miles on him. 47-7-2, a true Mexican veteran fighter here in the lightweight division. He did move up from super featherweight, but a veteran career for Jose Garibaldi, no doubt about it. He can do a lot, and this should be a really, really fun, challenging fight here for Raymond Pena to get his 20th professional win. More really good undercard fights here. Alberto Ortiz Adorno making his promotional debut, already 13-0. Jesus Cardo going to fight Jimmy Lampkin, try to get his 11th career win and give Lampkin his first career defeat. Garcia versus Curtis Diaz, also a decent little heavyweight banger. Michael Brandino, and the rest of these are just setups until I accidentally put this pretty awesome Eben Rodriguez versus Omar Nava fight on the bottom of the undercard. My mistake. But I guess that fight's going to come first. And before our event, we're going to watch this much-anticipated Danny Snow versus Arturs Margenis two-belt world heavyweight scrap. Danny Snow, one of the most famous and iconic fighters on the planet right now. Arturs Margenis looking to unseat him and bring his heavyweight straps back to Latvia. Good start for Snow. Up, here comes Margenis. Forget I said anything. Even first round. Margenis with Snow against the ropes. Snow manages to get back to center rings, but it's Margenis landing first, then Snow lands. Snow with good work to end the round. Big combos there in the last minute, doing significant damage to Margenis, who seems to be wearing it okay for just how much volume that was from Snow. For him to not be more damaged is pretty astonishing. Showing toughness here, Margenis here in round 2, to only be in the yellow and not in the orange or the red. But it's another easy round win for Danny Snow, who seems to be kind of cruising here. I'm going to put it on fastest if this is another 20-plus punch round from Danny Snow. And it's anything but. Margenis with a big round. I was waiting for Snow to come back into the round. He did a little bit, and then bang, Margenis with the knockdown. And Snow almost lost his belts on the canvas there as he gets up to the count of 9, hands his gloves to the refs. The refs shakes his wrists and lets him continue. 78% to 86%, man. This is an action-packed fight. Regret going fastest for that last round. Snow off to a good start. It's tough to say from moment to moment who the more damaged fighter is at this point. We know that Margenis has slightly more energy, which is impressive, although he's thrown less punches. Very difficult fight to score right now, even with the knockdown, but it's a boring sort of off round there for the combatants, as now they're finally a little less damaged. Don't expect that to last for too long, though, as Danny Snow, the initiator in this round. And a very impressive round for Danny Snow there. 4 big power punches and managing to get Margenis damaged again. And Margenis is just taking some really significant punishment in this fight, to be honest with you. He's only got about half the volume of Danny Snow until this round 6, where he begins to throw some. Probably realizing he needed to start initiating the offense. But Snow still with some powerful counter work. It's a big Margenis round, though. Probably his best round of the fight. As we head to round 7, Margenis scores big to start, but Danny Snow right back. He's had answers for everything Margenis has had to offer him, except for that knockdown, of course. That one crazy third round. But, I mean, you can't call the rest of the effort here from Danny Snow not effort. The volume punching is just tremendous. So many massive rounds from Snow. 21, 26. I mean, look. He's got over 10. He's got double digits in every single round. He's got 2 rounds with 5 power punches and 1 with 4. A 21 puncher, a 26 puncher, a 27 puncher. In a lot of ways here, Danny Snow is dominating Arturs Margenis. But Arturs Margenis, he's just got a gas tank from Hades. And he's still in there. Snow landing big shots, but Margenis still with more stamina. And it's another knockdown for Margenis. He's showing the ability to knock Snow down. And he's got the ability to knock him out. Arturs Margenis bringing home the WBC, WBA World Heavyweight titles. And new. The Latvian legend, Arturs Margenis. That was an awesome effort. And it shows just how entertaining a heavyweight with great stamina and great punch power can be. because he can stay in the fight forever, take all that damage, take 21 power punches, take 128 punches, take all those 20 plus punch rounds, and then come back and land that one big shot and get the win. And he never faltered. He looked for that one big shot the whole fight, and he finally found it. He got it in round 3, and Snow barely survived it, and he didn't survive the next one 5 rounds later. What an effort there from Artur's Marginis. And you think the people of the world want to see that fight rematched. This thing better get a run back. Hold up the whole heavyweight division with the negotiations for this thing. Let's get some extra corrupt boxing BS in here. I want to see this rematch get dragged out for decades. What a banger that was. All jokes aside, what a fight. That was maybe the best heavyweight fight of the whole save so far. All right, time for the undercard. We accidentally booked Rodriguez versus Nava, as I said, so we're gonna start with that one. Unfortunately, it should be way high up on some other card, but instead it's on the undercard of a action-packed round. Rodriguez takes it in round 3 after a strong round 2 as well. Won every round of that fight. Good performance there by Rodriguez. Flores versus Garcia. This should be a walkover for the young welterweight, and sure enough, in the first round he gets a knockout. Raul Williams making his professional debut here against LeBron Vera. Let's see how Raul Williams does. Ooh, and he gets a knockdown in round 3, and then another knockdown. And a knockout with 18 seconds left in the round, and it's a 1-0 professional career for Raul Williams. Ooh, and a bad round 6 there for Brandino. Round 5, rather. Strong round 6. Action-packed round 7. He's got to chase the finish here against Brandon Lampkin. Here to get his first win at the promotion. And there it is, Michael Brandino. Putting on for Canada his 5th professional knockout. Garcia v. Diaz. Big heavyweight tilt here. Garcia looking to get back on the winning track, and there's a knockdown. Garcia piling on pressure and getting the stoppage there in round 5. The North Syracuse native back in the win column, and Jesus Cardo and Jimmy Lampkin are going to engage in an undefeated heavyweight scrap here, and it's a big first round for Jimmy Lampkin. No action there from Cardo until about halfway through the second, where he finally starts to find his range. I'm going to jab and move. It's a bit of a boring round 4. Good round 5 from Cardo. Good round 6 from Lampkin. This has been a pretty even fight. It feels like a round win there from Cardo. We're going to get it back even and go to the body. And that was an excellent decision. It's going to be pile-on pressure here in round 9. Crazy round. Let's do a... Whoops. Let's do fast here. And, I mean, it's going to depend on whether or not we're down in the fight. It looks like we're up. They could rob us, but it looks like we're up. I'm comfortable enough here staying on natural style. We could chase the finish, but it would be a little greedy. I don't want to get caught. I don't want to lose the round big. I don't want to open ourselves up too much for him. He's had some really big rounds, and it's a good 2 minutes of work here from Cardo. He's not going to get the finish, but he's going to win the round. And if they don't give Cardo that decision, I don't even know. And they will. 95-92, 98-91 is a little wide, honestly. But the winner by unanimous decision, Jesus Cardo. Jimmy Lampkin is no longer undefeated. Alberto Ortiz Adorno making his debut for the promotion, his 14th professional fight out of San Juan, Puerto Rico. Why not watch it on fast? He's having a rough start to the career here at MC Promotions. And there we go. It's back even. Really close round there between the two combatants. Lots of damage done by Adorno. Flexing the muscles, showing off the power. And a brutal second round there by Majani, doing tons of damage to Adorno. Adorno's going to have to go to the body here. Great round for Adorno. Does a ton of damage. It's still a very even fight in terms of energy, but we have him far more damaged. And that's a great round, man. He did a ton of damage going to the body there, Adorno. And this is a big fight here for Raymond Pena against Jose Garibaldi. Mexican legend, and a huge first round for Pena. We're going to pile on pressure here in round 2 after that. And it's a good round 2. Let's try it in round 3 as well. And we're taking it to Garibaldi here. This has been an impressive performance by Pena. Some power shots landing there by Garibaldi. We're going to go jab and move instead of cover up. And we win the fight on jab and move. I think the first time in the whole save we've actually got a knockout on jab and move. And what a time to do it. Raymond Pena beating a very impressive fighter in Jose Garibaldi. And yes, that take punishment is a significant drawback to Garibaldi's skill set at this point, but it's still a very impressive win and the 20th professional career win for Raymond Pena. And Frankie Edwards, this is a fight and a half. Frankie Edwards versus Joseph Antoine Champion. Do I even need to tell you? This is just a 2 all action, all work, all aggression. Absolutely no defense fighters. I like Frankie Edwards, if only because of the takes punishment and the stamina. I just think Frankie Edwards is going to be able to stand in there and trade for longer. But there's going to be a lot of fists flying around in this fight, you can betcha. And already we see it. Champion with a couple power punches, living up to his name. Frankie the Psycho Edwards coming back at him. I feel bad that I'm recording this at like 5 a.m. I wish I was a little more energetic. But these guys are going to provide all the energy. Electricity pulsing through the building. Edwards with a good first minute of round 2. Antoine Champion comes out with a combo, but Edwards with big power punches and with a knockdown. Champion up at the count of 4. But he's significantly damaged. Edwards chasing the finish. Can he get it? Scores a jab. Combos off. Can he finish the fight? No. I really thought we were going to get the finish there. We for sure are going to pile on pressure. It was a good start to the round by Champion. Counterpunching, but here comes Edwards. He's got 2 minutes to finish this thing. Champion's going to be a tough out. He's a great puncher. But Champion gets over aggressive and he gets knocked down again. Edwards with another big shot. Champion may get up from this. He does at the count of 7. And it's another big shot and the ref steps in. And Frankie Edwards finishes it in round 3. And that is his best career win. And are we actually looking at a title contender here in Frankie Edwards? Is he proving that punch accuracy and punch power don't really matter too much? He's just got the stamina and the aggression and the chin. And that's ultimately proving to be enough. When you have 16 punch power, you're going to do a lot of damage if you have aggression. I don't really know. I can't really break it down. I think a lot of it's just magic. I think it's just Frankie being Frankie the Psycho Edwards. I think that 20 aggression is really a 30 aggression or a 35. I think he's just I think he's just special. I think he's just got something about him. Hopefully one day he's a super middleweight champion, but that's not really the point of Frankie the Psycho Edwards. The point of Frankie the Psycho Edwards is fun. That's the point. That's the point of Frankie the Psycho Edwards. Him being a fun fighter. That's the point. And last event I'm going to record tonight. Kid Rosario versus Joshua Marquez to start it off. And it's a TKO win for Kid Rosario in the first round there. No surprise. Taking care of business. Wendy Rice with a good second round. A good start to the third round, but Oscar Darter comes back strong. And then Wendy Rice gets the finish there in round 4. He's now 5-0 with 5 KOs. Todd Lopez looking to go 4-0 with 4 KOs. He is going to just gonna count my eggs before they hatch there. There it is. Round 2. Todd Lopez 4-0. That is a special, special prospect. Kareem Ramos, the most slept-on veteran at the promotion, I feel like, gets another knockout. A bit of an easy opponent, but hey, 18th career win there. Carlos the Casper Ghost Patterson here against Shakur Chapman. Shakur Tupac Chapman. versus Carlos the Casper Ghost Patterson of Casper, Wyoming. Bang! 3 rounds, Carlos Patterson with the finish. Max Rice versus Ryan Tetley. Ooh! Max Rice didn't even let him throw a punch. Ryan Tetley had no chance, and Max Rice continues his ascendancy. And the problem with that is people are really going to be calling for Rice versus Morales now. Max Rice is making himself look a little too good. I've been trying to keep Max Rice away from Fred Morales, but it just feels perfect now, doesn't it? Especially if Fred wins. Man, I mean Fred's gonna win, but like, come on. It's just kind of calling to me now after that performance from Max Rice. And is Vashon Barrett going to disappoint me here in his first fight? Almost. He got up to 96% and then he knocks the dude out. What a first career fight for Vashon Barrett. By first career fight, I mean first career at the promotion. Man, he got lucky. He's not a punch power guy. But he landed the right one at the right time. Right when it all looked bleak. Right when it all looked hopeless. And here comes Jose Edwards. The definition of when it all looked bleak, when it all looked hopeless. Jose Edwards looking to build his career back up after a few losses. He looks good in this fight so far. Got his opponent down to the end of his energy. Now he's chasing the finish, and Jose Edwards is going to get his 19th win there in round 6 by TKO. He took a little damage in that fight. Only one power punch against him, though. Jose Edwards putting on a really impressive defensive performance, honestly. And Fred Morales versus Yoshiki Sameshima. Yoshiki Sameshima. Sameshima. And Fred Morales versus Yoshiki Sameshima. Yoshiki Sameshima. It is 5 in the morning. And this should be a pretty easy win here. Sameshima has a really, really good stamina. That's about it. This is nothing Fred Morales hasn't seen before. Fred Morales has knocked out plenty of fighters of this level, and it's another knockdown. Sameshima up at the count of 7. Lots of volume there for Sameshima, who's fighting back, but Morales ahead and in control of this fight, and there's a knockdown. I kind of had a feeling. I can't lie. I kind of had a weird feeling that was going to happen. Morales gets knocked down. We go and cover up. We're going to stay on natural style. We're way ahead in the fight. We're going to stay on natural style. Now we're going to pile on pressure. We're going to win a decision here. So everything's okay. There's no way. He might have 4 rounds. I'll tell you what, guys. We're going to go for broke. I want to win. I want to win, and we're better than him. Let's just attack him. We've gotten knocked down. Why not? Hell for leather. Shots landing from Sameshima. We're winning the round so far. Morales with more volume. Big cut on the eye of Sameshima. And Morales did enough to win that fight. Credit to Sameshima, though. It's the second fight of Morales' career that doesn't end in a knockout. But it is a unanimous decision win for Fred Morales. And after that, again, it's a little bit of an underwhelming performance from Morales where he got knocked down. This Morales versus Rice fight is really calling to me at this point. I can't lie to you guys. All right, time for Dale versus Sharp from the Barclays Center in New York, New York. Cottrell versus Simatala, the co-main event. Mark Martinez, Raul Solis. So some warm-up fights on the undercard. But one absolute cracker of a main event here. Palmares, Puerto Rican fighter, making his debut for the promotion. Let's see how he gets on. It's a tough first fighter for Palmares as Mwamwa from Tanzania, giving him a good challenge here. And it's a good start to round 4, but then it's a nice comeback for Palmares, who has a great round 5. And we're going to pile on pressure. A 30-0 round 5 for Palmares. And it seems like Mwamwa's had a gas. And Palmares gets the finish here in round 6. That was a 10-round fight, despite being at the bottom of the undercard. Philippone in for a 10-round heavyweight bout as well. Tough third round, but he's doing most of the damage. We'll go to the body, try to get him back within range. We've got Carmona more tired. It's been a bit tough here from Philippone, and he gets the finish there in round 5. There comes the power. as he turns it on in round 5 and gets the stoppage. Robert Filippone is 6-1 now. Derek Mitchell looking for his second career win. I feel like we've had quite a few fighters named Mitchell. There was definitely Darius Mitchell and Brian Mitchell as well. I believe Brian Mitchell is our second most popular fighter. He is. So we're farming Mitchells here. I think was it OTP? It definitely wasn't anything I uploaded, but I had a player either an Out of the Park Baseball or a Boxing Manager once just named Mitchell, which I thought was hilarious. Definitely not a real person. I remember I looked him up and I was like, there's no way there's a real guy named Mitchell. Well, which if I looked it up, that means that it was Out of the Park Baseball. It was Out of the Park Baseball. It was like a fictional universe I did in Out of the Park Baseball once. So there'd be something to do very cool on the channel. Eventually do a fully fictional Out of the Park Baseball universe. Basically make my own league. That's definitely something that's on the bucket list for the channel. And Cottrell versus Simatala, we're going to watch this one on fast. Heavyweight co-main event. Cottrell with a big combo to start. Simatala landing power shots. It's a tough round 1 here for Cottrell. Simatala with a big round, doing big damage, going to the body. Tiring Cottrell out and doing the better damage. And Cottrell, a couple power punches to start round 2. That's good to see. Trying to make this round 2 his very quickly, halfway through the round. And Simatala manages to get back in the round and land some damage. Cottrell with a combo at the end. And this has been a pretty even heavyweight exchange here so far. Good start from Simatala, sorry. Cottrell coming back, Simatala landing more. Fighters to center ring, and Simatala, this is another good round for him. He's taken round 1 and round 3, and he's shown the ability to significantly damage Cottrell. And now Cottrell's just going to have to survive. A couple more clean shots could end it. And he almost finished Ricardo Cottrell there, Simatala. And Cottrell is in some trouble. He's going to have to go and cover up. He has been a good cover-up fighter in the past. Let's see if that continues. Score is big. He's got a cut, though. And he's damaged. And Simatala is well ahead in the fight on punches. But here we go. Big counter punches from Cottrell. Maybe starting to find his range a little bit. Let's see. Do we have a big size advantage? We do. We're going to jab and move while we still have the energy to do so. And immediately it's a big power shot. Cottrell has to actually jab and move. Move away, implying don't let him land big power shots on you, which is what Cottrell's doing. Cottrell's going to get knocked out. He lands back, but that's it. It was one punch away for a while there in round 5, and Simatala just poured it on pretty much for the entire fight. We had a really hard time stopping him from landing volume punches in that one, as I don't see punch accuracy, but I do see aggression, and I do see ring IQ, so it's not surprising. It sucks to lose to a fighter with such bad takes punishment, especially in the heavyweight division. Cottrell should have let his hands fly a little bit. Maybe a look for KO could have been in order there if I knew we were going to take so much damage. But it's a really boring, slow, lack of volume fight there from Cottrell. Pretty disappointed in Ricardo Cottrell right now. And Randy Dale, a big chance here against a power puncher in Joe Sharp. A very dangerous opponent here for Randy Dale, who's trying to finally get up to that top level of the middleweight division, and it's a bad start. Feels like we've been getting off to a lot of bad starts in fights, but this is especially bad. 13 punches before Dale finds one. And then finally he lands a big shot, but it's a big first round for Joe Sharp. And he manages to make it look a little good, but it's inauspicious for Randy Dale until now. A knockdown to start round 2. Has Randy Dale finished Joe Sharp? Yes! He does not make the 10 count. And Randy Dale, 13 seconds into the second round. I have a big smile on my face. I was very worried Randy Dale was going to get dragged into a brutal war here, and instead he finishes it just 13 seconds into round 2 after not throwing a punch for about the first minute and a half of the fight. 13 seconds into round 2, he comes out and lands the finishing blow. A big overhand from Randy Dale here to finish the show. And the crowd is on their feet in New York for the hometown kid, Randy Dale, who is a very real factor in the middleweight division now. What a punch. Speaking of Darius Mitchell, he's way down the undercard here at Dignity Health Sports Park for the Tony Seals and Bill Donnelly rematch. Let's go. A tough fight here to start off against power punching Omar Agatone. here in the welterweight division for the hometown kid, Darius Mitchell. Action-packed first round, lots of damage. Let's pile on pressure. We get hit with a big shot. We get hit with a big shot. And it's another exciting back and forth round. And Mitchell taking a big lead. We go to the body. And look at Darius Mitchell go. Into round 6. He took some damage there in round 6 to do damage, but he gets the finish in round 7 and an impressive win there for Darius Mitchell. Has done a really good job of making up for those early career defeats. Tony Ali looking to continue his undefeated mark against Joshua Garcia. Should be a bit of a setup fight. In 5 punches, Ali proves it is just that. Thank you, Tony. That was short and sweet. Rico Hartman versus Regilio Douglin. I feel like we fought Regilio Douglin before. And Rico Hartman so far taking him out. Let's go the old jab and move just because it's Rico Hartman and we love hitting the jab and move with Rico Hartman. And there you go, 16-1. Rico jab and move Hartman. Gervonta Williams. Gervonta Nightmare World Destroyer Puppy Eater Williams versus Perry Najera. Round 1 in the heavyweight division. This may be Williams' first undefeated opposition. If I were to guess, he's going to make him look not all that undefeated, and so far that's the case. A knockdown and 5 power punches for Gervonta Williams in round 1, and a dominant round 2 as well. We're going to pile on pressure in round 3. We don't quite get the stoppage. We take a little damage, actually. We'll go back to natural style. He hasn't chased the finish yet, which is always going to worry you in a heavyweight fight, especially when the other guy is providing some volume. We'll tell Gervonta to jab and move. Doesn't work quite that well. We'll go back to natural style. And now we're close to the finish. And now Gervonta Williams is going to chase it. And let's see if he finally gets the stoppage. Round 9, he still doesn't have it, man. Najera has put up a pretty good fight here and gotten rid of all of our energy, but it's still a dominant one-sided performance for Gervonta Williams, who's going to take home a easy unanimous decision win, 99-88. That's an 11-round discrepancy in a 10-round fight, folks. Gervonta Williams just easily handled undefeated Perry Najera to move up to 12-0. And the supporting bout, Rigoberto Grant versus Percy Marks. This is a nice mark here, for pun very intended, for Rigoberto Grant. Let's watch if he can get that win over the power puncher. And no, there goes Rigoberto Grant's undefeated record a minute into round 1. The power punching Percy Marks comes from all the way from New Zealand to knock out our guy and take his undefeated record. And we were worried about that chin. We were a little worried about that take punishment. We were worried about moving him down to cruiserweight. There were a lot of little indications. And also, Rigoberto Grant has had a nasty tendency so far in his career to get knocked down. That is far from his first knockdown, so that is pretty far from surprising as well. Rigoberto Grant, very big fan base, he's managed to build up for himself, but his chin, unfortunately, already cracked. And moving him down from a heavyweight may have been a bit of a mistake for what is a very talented young fighter. But he's still got a long way to go. He's still got a lot of dedication, but he doesn't really have a good mix of conditioning, chin, or defense, or takes punishment. He's going to have to deal damage to win fights, unfortunately. So in that sense, I think it's good that he's down at cruiserweight. It may be good for him. He may get more wins over the course of his career as a cruiserweight than he would at heavyweight because, again, the lack of conditioning, the lack of chin, and the lack of defense are all part of the reasons why I moved him away from heavyweight, no? So it was a controversial decision, but I think he was bound to take an L at some point. It just sucks that it had to happen in the form of a KO1 in front of a sold-out arena on a $300 pay-per-view or something. Out of the tickets are $300. I think the pay-per-view is $100. Yeah, the tickets are $348. Man, we're making some money tonight. Tony Seals versus Bill Donnelly. I'm going to watch this thing on Medium. And fighting out of the red corner, representing New Brunswick, New Jersey, United States, fighting out of New York, New York. He holds a professional record of 33 wins, 3 losses, and 2 draws with 22 wins coming by knockout. He is the former middleweight title challenger and the current reigning defending North American middleweight champion of the world, Tony the Real Deal Seals. And fighting out of the blue corner, representing Swords, Ireland. His professional record is a nearly perfect one. 27 wins with 1 defeat and 21 wins coming by way of knockout. He is the reigning, defending undisputed champ magazine, WBC, WBA, WBO, which means he's not quite undisputed world middleweight champion, Bill the Thrill Donnelly. Let's do it. This is going to be crazy. What an absolute super fight here in the middleweight division. Can Tony Seals finally bring home the gold in what somehow is only his second shot and our promotion's second shot at a win over Bill the Thrill Donnelly? Ding, ding, ding. Great start for Seals. Like to see that, a power punch right at the start. But they're going at it here early. No feeling out process. Just punching. Now it's a little lower volume. Donnelly seems to have ring control. There's a punch. Donnelly connecting a little bit. And after an exciting first minute, they slow it down a little bit. Donnelly throwing big punches. Seals connecting with the jab. And it's a bit of a slow first round that mostly goes to Bill the Thrill Donnelly. And the champion looking strong in round one. Can Seals find his range and establish himself in round two? It's a strong start, just like it was for round one for Seals, but he's pouring it on now. More punches. No power punches, though, and there's a big counter punch from Donnelly and another. As Donnelly is heavily damaging Seals. Seals managed to damage Donnelly a little bit, too, though. A couple punches through the guard from Seals. It's still a pretty low volume round. Seals with a jab. Maybe not anymore. Seals is definitely throwing punches. I'd love to see a power punch from our guy, and there we go, a big shot to end up what's a very strong round two for the real deal. And Seals puts Donnelly against the ropes, imposing himself with big ring control in the last round as well on another big shot. Two big punches. Now Donnelly is the more damaged fighter here in round three, but there's a jab back from the Irishman. Back in center ring, Seals working. Nice 1-2. Seals breaks his right hand in the effort, however, but it's a big shot from Donnelly. Throws two more punches. Seals finds him back with one, but it's another Tony Seals round. And this is going to be the body round, so this is the one I'm going to watch a little faster because going to the body always makes me nervous, but we need to do it. He's the more damaged fighter. We might take some damage back here. And unfortunately, Donnelly is landing, but Seals now with big shots. Donnelly ahead in the round, but it's a nice 1-2. We don't really seem to be damaging to the body in the way that I wanted to, unfortunately, as Donnelly is using our coming inside to land combinations. And it's still pretty much an even fight, unfortunately. We're going to go back to natural style here in round 5. It's a slow start to the round. It's a couple big shots from Donnelly. Seals. Slow round 5 so far. Seals lands a power punch. Seals lands a 1-2. So tough to say who's ahead in this fight. Donnelly lands more combos. And it's hard to say Donnelly didn't win that round. But it's such a close, tough to score fight. I'd like to see marginally more volume from Seals. As here's some effort from Seals. The power punches really haven't been there, but that's true on both sides, fortunately for us. There's one from Donnelly. Cracks Seals. Puts him in the yellow. Donnelly has been the far less damaged fighter. And the fate of this fight may come down to when and how we choose to pile on pressure. We're about halfway down our energy now. And it's just been such an even fight. I would describe it almost as mid-tempo. It's hard to say who's actually determining the tempo. The ring control meter says Donnelly, but it's a big round from Seals. Donnelly lands one back. Seals needs to continue that work to have a real big round. I sort of jumped the shark there. Not too big of a round, but he probably won it. There hasn't really been a truly big round from Seals here other than round 2. And it still is a very interesting question of when we pile on pressure. I am going to go... Looking at the aggression discrepancy here, I'm going to pile on pressure just for this round. Going to the body didn't work. We're a more accurate puncher, and we get inside more. So let's see if Tony Seals can effectively pile on pressure if he's just going to get counterpunched. He says watching him get counterpunched. As it seems like Donnelly is right in his zone. No, please, come after me. Go ahead. As Seals makes a bit of a mistake trying to impose himself on the fight here, as Donnelly has a chance to get the finish. And he doesn't quite. And that was a big mistake by me. I think we just threw our undisputed title hopes in the trash. That was a really bad mistake. As we're forced to cover up, and now Donnelly is chasing the finish. And we got too big for our britches with that pile-on pressure. That low aggression proved to ultimately be a really big benefit for Donnelly, and now I feel like I have no choice but to smother inside for similar reasons. Maybe even go for broke here, actually. I mean, Tony Seals is a big puncher. We got to try to find that big shot. Seals landing a big combination, but we haven't landed power punches so far. And it's going to be a matter of how Seals uses the last of his energy here, and it's only been 5 punches. I'm not seeing any real committed work from Seals here. Hasn't been too impressive of a round. I mean, maybe you can score the round for him. It's still 10 points. We're going to go pile on pressure. Unfortunately, after this, we're only going to have one more round, but that other pile on pressure round was a disaster. It'd be reasonable to expect something similar out of this one. And Donnelly, every time we try to get inside and get in his range, he just smokes us. And this has been a nightmare of a fight for Tony Seals in a lot of ways. I'm going to plant... Well, we don't have the power advantage, so plant our feet doesn't really make any sense. He's the guy with the power punching. Which means we also would have kind of had to win this fight on points. It would have been a matter of taking his stamina away or taking advantage of that lower takes punishment. And we're just going to watch this last round play out. I don't have much hope. Let's see if Seals can land a miracle knockout or a miracle knockdown. It'll be interesting to see what the scorecards come back reading. But this is definitely not a win on the scorecards here for Tony Seals. He did a respectful job. It's one of our more respectable title shots, but it is a unanimous decision loss for Bill Donnelly. I feel like that round 8 where I piled on pressure was a big moment in the fight. But another low-key moment in this fight as well was when Seals broke his right hand in round 3. He had a really big round 2 and slightly less big round 3 when he broke his hand, and then you can see the volume falls off after that. After the broken hand in round 3, he only has 3 rounds, but he only has a 10-punch, a 10-punch, and an 11-punch round. You don't have a single round over 11 punches after this 12-punch round 3 where he breaks his hand. So I think that's also a really big factor. We got very unlucky there with Seals breaking his right hand, his main hand, and his favored hand, rather, in the 3rd round. And it's another heartbreaker for us at title level, and it's a good example of why it's so important for us to put our foot on the gas here in this episode and really start being more aggressive with signing fighters, because we need to find that guy who's really going to get up to title level and establish himself as an undisputed champion. Tony Seals just came 4 points short, but 4 points isn't nothing in boxing. He definitely didn't win that fight. To finish this episode, we are going to watch Edgar Amparan versus Robert Bulacan. This is a true super fight that we're also going to be watch on fast. So more top-level championship boxing for you guys here in this episode. Bulacan, we all remember, the super lightweight legend. It's only his 2nd weight class, but he was a legend at super light. So many awesome title fights, so many awesome title defenses, especially the ones against Ben Masawi, were an absolute riot to watch. Robert Bulacan, a legend in the Philippines, moving over, taking on arguably the #1 pound-for-pound fighter in the world, Edgar Amparan. If he isn't, he will be one day. 2 wins over Michael Carl. Already built himself a pretty legendary reputation and has done a sterling job defending his titles. Mexico versus the Philippines. Once again, Mexico versus the Philippines has never been responsible for a good boxing match in history. Never happened. And this one actually is for the undisputed welterweight title, which I was just looking at this. I'd like to say this too. Look at the welterweight division in this world right now. Look at how unbelievably stacked this division is. Amparan, 25-0. Gilberto Gomez. People are just coming up to welterweight. There's just all these guys from other weight classes have just ended up at welterweight right now. It's amazing. Amparan, Gomez, Jakubov, and Bulacan. And I believe Amparan, Gomez, and Bulacan all moved from other weight classes. Oh, no, Amparan's a welterweight. Yeah, that makes sense. He's really moved up this division and dominated. But I know Gomez is on his 3rd weight class, and Bulacan is on his 2nd. And this is what Gabriel McCreary has to contend with. So I was thinking about Gabriel McCreary and how I've always really wanted him to win a championship. And it's just really unfortunate that that's another guy we're probably going to have to cross out for the time being, because I just don't see that happening. I don't see any of it. I just don't see a way from here to there, unfortunately, for McCreary, because he's got to get through all four of these guys. It's pretty tough. The tragedy of Gabriel McCreary. The tragedy being an absolutely stacked welterweight division. Amparan with a good round one. Competitive round two. Round three, Amparan gets a lot of damage for Bulacan. Stands up and does some damage back. More action-packed fighting here in round four. Tough to... Whoa! All right, we're going on fast now. Amparan knocks down Bulacan. Big surprise, but it was a big round from Bulacan from the beginning. I was saying big surprise sarcastically. Amparan loves knocking people down. 25-0 with 23 knockdowns. Bulacan probably knew when he stepped in the ring today he was due to... deep down, he probably knew he was going to taste the canvas at some point. If not, he's got to adjust now, and he's doing a good job damaging Amparan. Amparan, the far more damaged fighter. Bulacan chasing the finish. Will he have time to get it before the end of the round? Just not. Amparan off the ropes with the last of his energy, an extremely damaged fighter with blood coming from his nose. Managing to battle back and prevent Bulacan from getting the finish, but Bulacan is going to relentlessly pursue it here in round 7. Amparan, the far more damaged fighter. Bulacan been doing much better work. It would be such a huge win for the young Filipino. Moving up into the welterweight class to challenge the welterweight stalwart Amparan, the number 1 pound-for-pound fighter in the world. This feels like Manny Pacquiao against Oscar De La Hoya. Except in this version, Oscar De La Hoya isn't old and washed up. It's prime Edgar Amparan. It's prime Edgar Amparan De La Hoya versus Robert Bulacan Pacquiao. As Bulacan piling on there at the end of the round, but he doesn't have Amparan damage like he did a couple rounds ago. Amparan now back in the green, but Bulacan, all that damage he did has worn down Amparan's energy. I would say this is a hard fight to score, but it doesn't seem to be right now. Amparan, despite Bulacan racking up rounds recently, he's won this round as well and should be ahead in the fight. He's ahead on the punch stats and ahead on knockdowns. An excellent round by Edgar Amparan, proving he's still right here, even if that was the last of his energy. And now Bulacan, the only fighter with energy, going to get back to trying to chase a finish. It's amazing how much Bulacan has been pressuring Amparan and chasing a finish in this fight for him to still be arguably behind on the scorecards. The Bulacan corner and all the Filipino fans have got to be sweating this one out, waiting to see what the scorecard's going to be. Round 11. The championship rounds here. Amparan with a big shot. Bulacan only 2% energy left. Can he use it at all? Or will Amparan outwork him with his completely empty gas tank? It's two exhausted fighters. Got to imagine they're standing right in front of each other and not throwing much. Amparan. And it's an even round 11. Tough fight to score. I personally would give it to Amparan, especially with this last round he's having now. Pouring it on. Finally, Bulacan with an answer. Bulacan's going to try to even this round up. And Bulacan has done an unbelievable job in this fight. He has Amparan damaged again. It's probably an Amparan round, and it's probably an Amparan fight. Let's see how they score it. 116-111 Amparan, 114-113, and 114-113 for the winner by unanimous decision. And still, welterweight champion of the world, undisputed welterweight champion of the world, Edgar Amparan. And what an effort there by Robert Bulacan, up a weight class. Yeah, it's his first professional loss, but I don't think anyone's going to hold that against him. He lost it by only 1 point in a couple scorecards for a reason. He was chasing a finish for a lot of that fight, and he very clearly won very, very many rounds. Bossed the middle of the fight. Looked fantastic in the middle of the fight. If Amparan didn't get off to a good start in that fight, he would have lost. I'd love to see that fight rematched, but there's way too many great contenders for Amparan to fight in the welterweight division. And is a fight against, I mean, that's the thing, like for McCreary, I don't really want to fight Bulacan. Why would I want to fight that guy? He just almost beat Edgar Amparan. Like, no thanks. It's just a really hard task for McCreary in the welterweight division right now. But that was an awesome fight. And honestly, so was the Seals versus Donnelly fight. I think we have a lot to be proud of, taking it to Bill Donnelly again. Keep in mind, Bill Donnelly is an undefeated fighter. We can look at Bill Donnelly and go, oh, we should have won that. We should have won that. We did the same thing to Donnelly that Uriel Palacios did to Donnelly. Lost to him by a unanimous decision. And, Palacios, quote-unquote, beat him. Palacios didn't win this fight. Donnelly won this fight, by the way. That's what I'm saying. Donnelly should be 29-0. We did, Palacios probably did a little bit better than we did in his first fight, but he didn't do any better than we did in the second fight. And Tony Seals didn't give a great account of himself, but let me just say this before the episode ends. If we would have hit pile on pressure in that 8th round and it would have actually worked, we'd be sitting here telling a very, very different story. And that's just how Boxing Manager works, man. These champions, especially at the middleweight division, welterweight division, heavyweight division, the glamour divisions of the sport, it's real, real hard to hit the heights. And we're getting real, real close. So it's just a matter of time. Stay tuned.